Good morning, everybody, to my 29 subscribers and anybody else who watches this video. I haven't read letters for a while, so this is Love Letters of Great Women. Okay, and this one is Dorothy Osborn, Temple, 1627 to 95. Dorothy Osborn was from a family who took the Royalists' part during England's Civil War. Her father, Sir Peter Osborn, was the Lieutenant Governor of the Channel Island of Guernsey. After the outbreak of the Civil War, her mother, Lady Dorothy, took her children from their home in Bedfordshire to St. Malo in France to be near her husband, who was besieged in Castle Cornet on Guernsey. In 1644, having got herself into debt sending provisions to Sir Peter, Lady Dorothy brought the family back to England, where they resided temporarily in Chelsea at the home of her brother, as Bedfordshire was in the hands of parliamentarian forces. Two of Dorothy's own brothers were killed in the Civil War, the second in 1646. The year Sir Peter was forced to retreat from Guernsey and made for St. Malo. It was on a voyage out to see her father that Dorothy met Sir William Temple, a young man who was embarking on a continental tour, having left Cambridge without taking his degree. A lengthy, intermittent courtship ensued. Dorothy's father and her brothers were implacably opposed to the marriage. The Osborn finances had been severely depleted by the war, and they had hoped Dorothy would find a rich husband. In 1648, Sir William departed once more for the continent, and in 1651, after the lovers managed to meet in London, Dorothy's family returned to Bedfordshire. There she was presented with endless suitable young men, all of whom she rejected. This was when the correspondence between the lovers began in earnest. 77 letters from Dorothy to Sir William survive. She destroyed all but one of Sir William's to her. She had to circumvent the close surveillance of her brother Henry, which meant that her letters had to be smuggled out of the house. It wasn't until 1654, after the death of Dorothy's father, that the two were married. Although the opposition of her family was unabated, Dorothy suffered a disfiguring and almost fatal attack of smallpox a month before the wedding. The couple settled initially in Ireland, where they had 8 or 9 children. At least 6 died in infancy, but the records are unclear. In 1665, Sir William was appointed ambassador to the Netherlands, where they remained until 1671. Dorothy and Sir William played a behind-the-scenes role in brokering the marriage of William of Orange and Mary Stuart, the daughter of the Duke of York, who jointly ruled England, Scotland, and Ireland from 1689. Dorothy and Mary remained confidants until Mary's death in 1694. Dorothy died in 1695 at Moor Park, an estate in Surrey that Sir William had bought for their retirement. She was buried in Westminster Abbey. Her vivacious and witty letters were published in various editions from 1836, which is when her literary reputation was secured. To Sir William Temple, no date. There are a great many ingredients must go to the making me happy in a husband. First, as my cousin Franklin says, our humors must agree, and to do that, he must have the kind of breeding that I have had, and use that kind of company. That is, he must not be so much a country gentleman as to understand nothing but hawks and dogs, and be fonder of either than his wife, nor of the next sort of them whose aim reaches no further than to be justice of the peace, and once in his life high sheriff, who reads no book but statutes, and studies nothing but how to make a speech interlarded with Latin, that may amaze his disagreeing poor neighbors, and fright them rather than persuade them into quietness. He must not be a thing that began the world in a free school, was sent from thence to the university, and is at his furthest when he reaches the Inns of Court, has no acquaintances but those of his form in these places, speaks the French he has picked out of old laws, and admires nothing but the stories he had heard of the revels that were kept there before his time. He must not be a town gallant either, that lives in a tavern and an ordinary, that cannot imagine how an hour should be spent without company unless it be in sleeping, that makes court to all the women he sees, thinks they believe him, and laughs and is laughed at equally, nor a travelled monsieur whose head is all feather inside and outside, then can talk of nothing but dancing and duets, and has courage enough to wear slashes when every one else dies with cold to see him. He must not be a fool of no sort, nor peevish, nor ill-natured, nor proud, nor covetous, and to all this must be added, that he must love me, and I him, as much as we are capable of loving. Without all this, his fortune, though never so great, would not satisfy me, and with it a very moderate one would keep me from ever repenting my disposal. To Sir William Temple, no date. 'Twill be pleasinger to you, I am sure, to tell you how fond I am of your lock. Well, in earnest now, and setting aside all compliments, I never saw finer hair, nor of a better colour, but cut no more on't. I would not have it spoiled for the world. If you love me, be careful on't. I am combing and curling and kissing this lock all day, and dreaming on't all night. The ring, too, is very well, only a little of the biggest. Send me a tortoise, one that is a little less than that I sent for a pattern. I would not have the rule so absolutely true, without exception, that hard hairs be ill-natured, for then I should be so. But I can allow that all sorts of hairs are good, and so are you. Or I am deceived as much as you are, if you think I do not love you enough. Tell me, my dearest, am I? You will not be if you think I am. Yours. Okay. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.